Good afternoon, YouTubers. This is the Roaming Prepper. Thank you for coming to check out the Saturday Sitrep for 17 July 2021. As you can tell, this is a pre-recorded Saturday Sitrep. Unfortunately, I had other commitments that came up, but I did want to share some news with everyone while I had a chance to do so. First and foremost, if you can, like and subscribe. If you're a follower, I do appreciate it, and it's just nice to do. So in any case, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. For a couple of weeks, it kind of got quiet, and I was kind of looking for things to talk about that weren't outrageous or really ridiculous. But lately, there's been some really serious things that could affect you in preparedness. And I'm gonna start with those, but first and foremost, my little safety topic for today is check your tires and gas tank on your car, not just for preparedness reasons, but it's just a smart thing to do. Too many people will get in the car and not regularly walk around the vehicle, check your lights, check your tires, and they go for a ride, they go for a road trip, and they wind up with a flat in the middle of nowhere, which kind of sucks. So before you go on the road trip, before you go visit your relatives, or even if you're just going to the next city or town over a couple-hour drive, before you leave, walk around your vehicle, look at the tires, check the lights, make sure you have gas. Check your oil and transmission fluid if you can. Some of the newer transmissions are sealed, but if you can, do so. Most importantly, make sure you take your time driving. Okay, there are a lot of people on the road. We've all been shut down for whatever amount of time. People forget skill sets. You lose skill sets over time, and that includes driving. So take your time, plan your route, check the weather, be safe on the road. That's my safety minute for now, but very important stuff anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start off with a very interesting situation that's coming up. It's the California fires. This has been a very strange situation to deal with, and let's share a screen real quick, and we can talk about it some more. So actually, let's expand that puppy a little bit. There we go. Okay, so right now there's hundreds of thousands of acres, certainly tens of thousands of acres that are on fire in California and Oregon and Washington State. Basically, the drought we all talked about that's affecting crops, that's affecting the Hoover Dam. And I mentioned it, a lot of people mentioned it. I actually physically went to the Hoover Dam out in Nevada from Texas and saw for myself that the water level was amazingly low, and lo and behold, the state is now on fire, which we all kind of saw that coming. In any case, the river fire is 50% contained, as you can see here. This website is the Cal Fire website, so I'm going to share that with you guys. Since I'm not doing this live, I'm going to pop that in there if I can. And but maybe not. So I guess we won't be cutting and pasting there, but that is the www.fire.ca.gov. So check that website out. That has current fire conditions in the area. As you can see, there are fires ranging from all the way down in San Diego all the way up to the north side of the state, basically across the entire state. Now, some of the smaller fires are not yet considered a Cal Fire incident. They're being handled at the local level. Cal Fire is more for the major fire jurisdiction situations. Right now, 142,000 acres are burned, 4,991 incidents, and 119 structures are damaged. So not cool. It's bad stuff. Currently, there's just a handful of fires. The Cannon fire, for the most part, is contained. Some of the others they're still struggling with, and some are still small. So the 2021 season outlook is not great for these guys out there. So if you have loved ones on the West Coast, encourage them. Make hard copies of important papers, stock food, and make your food preps and your personal preps mobile. Okay. Obviously, the best idea is to try to bug in a situation. I did it for almost every hurricane except for one. We bugged in. We had tools, we had neighbors, we had resources. In a case of a fire, a massive earthquake, a tornado, something like that, you may not have a choice. You may have to flee. You may have to just get up and leave the house. So if you have stuff pre-staged, even if you don't pre-pack your vehicle, which may not be practical, pre-stage it in the garage, park your vehicles outside, lay out what you may have to take in the garage, almost like a runway, right? You lay it out the way you're going to pack it. The stuff at the front will go in first, the stuff in the back would go in last, and lay out everything. Don't forget your pets. I've put videos on how to travel with pets, short videos. I'm going to eventually get around to doing a longer one. Make sure you have dog food or cat food. Make sure you have the appropriate carriers. Remember, your pets must have shots and they must be socialized to be allowed into a shelter. This is important. A lot of people show up, they have a belligerent dog. The dog will get turned away, or it'll get sequestered and put in an area outside. They're not going to endanger other people's pets or other humans because your dog is an asshole. So don't have asshole pets. Socialize your animals, get them used to walking on a leash or a harness or some other restraint, or get them used to traveling in a containment like a cat carrier or something like that. Important stuff. Also, there are resources, and actually I should have pulled that up now that I'm thinking about it. There are resources where you can look up, if you download the Red Cross app before disaster, just have it on your phone. If there is an emergency, you can actually look up the nearest shelter to you. You click that shelter and it'll give you directions. That's assuming the phones are still working. Not a guarantee, as we all know. Harvey proved that, and so did Hurricane Ike. But make ready, if you live in these areas, that you may have to go somewhere. You may have to move. If you're not ready, then there's panic. And typically that's where the problems come up, is when people freak out. I'm going to share another screen with you real quick. And bear with me here for a second. As I get there, there we go. Bam. This is the New York Times. Now, this is a larger view of the fire. And as you can see, this bootleg fire is actually getting 144,000 acres burned, 10% growth in 24 hours, and 300 people live within 5 miles of the fire zone. That's bootleg. This one's 16,000, the Jack Fire, 25,000 in the Lava Fire. That's kind of an ironic name. And 105,000 acres burned in the Beckworth complex. So that's not bueno. And then to boot, now you have this whole area was experiencing, this area, the Nevada, California, Arizona area, was experiencing a lot of fires, or rather a lot of drought, and now they're experiencing fire. Same up here. So you have the Dixie's 27,000 acres. This is kind of surprising because the Pacific Northwest was getting hammered with rain, and then all of a sudden they got 110-degree heat, and now they have fires. So again, you look at those weather patterns, you start seeing a lot of high heat, a lot of dry conditions. It's a I'll bet you $5 kind of situation. You're going to get a fire up there. So again, these are not small fires. 11,000 acres burned, 420. That one's smaller. But still, that's a lot of fire. They're dealing with a lot of wind. So this was a New York Times interactive map, just nytimes.com. Check it out if you think you're interested in looking into it more. Again, tell your friends and family in that area, hey, if you are in the area, please make ready, to leave. Don't wait till the last minute. Pre-pack bags. Make copies of everything. It doesn't hurt while the internet's up and there's no EMP, etc. Upload to a cloud or your iCloud or some secure server if you may have to access it on the road. Charge up all your electronics, and talk to family members and friends. Have a plan where you're going to go, and tell people, hey, I'm going to go to Joe's house. If I don't make Joe's house, I'm going to Sarah's house or Tommy's house or whatever. Have that plan in place beforehand. Not at 3 in the morning, the firefighters are banging on your door saying you have to leave right now, and you're in your pajamas, you don't know where anything is, your kids are half asleep, and you're freaking out. Because those are the families, they try to evacuate, they're not ready to do so, and they leave a pet behind, they leave a person behind. I've seen that happen, or I've heard of it happening, or they leave something very important and they lose everything. So guys, please do that. Anyway, we're going to move on. Oh, and by the way, Arizona's having fires too. No, I'm sorry. Arizona's having floods. This is the opposite problem. Let's share that one because this is just weird shit today. I'm sorry. I'm in a bit of a mood. That's why I'm cursing a little more than normal. Flagstaff declares state of emergency as Arizona is now hit by devastating floods. Now, my part of Texas, which is west central Texas, is normally very dry, kind of brown green looking ground. It is beautiful out here now because it has rained like nobody's business. But then it rained to the point that you had this kind of thing happening. People's houses were getting flooded. The terrain here is so solid that the water doesn't have a lot of places to go into the ground. So it basically channels to the lowest spot and starts hauling ass downhill. And we've watched cars and pickup trucks get flooded and swept into the bayou. Well, not a bayou, into the damn dirt. It's been weird to witness. But there's it says one widely shared video, a person shouting, "Oh my God," filmed as a Toyota Prius was shown being carried down a street. Let's see if we can find that video. That looks kind of fun. And there, oh shit, look at that. Y'all see that? That is not a joke. That's hella storming. We'll let that play again. You can hear my dog's a bit upset in the background. There it goes. Look at that. Now, by the way, if you had a 4x4 truck, this would not help. As you can see, the pickups are getting taken away too. So that's really crazy, guys. So again, you definitely want to avoid flooding. Pay attention to your weather patterns, because it's still playing in the background. Pay attention to your weather patterns because you very easily could wind up getting flooded. And remember, just because you have a truck or a van or whatever, you only need a couple of feet of water, not even a foot of water, hitting you the right way at the right speed, and it's taking you off the road. Because remember, as big as your truck may be, the square inches of tire actually in touch with the road is very small when you think about it. It's not like a tank where you have treads across, the whole body of the tank. You have, whatever you think of your tire where it touches the ground physically at any point in time is probably, 4 inches by 6 inches, depending on how big a truck you have, versus the flow of water. Remember, force is pressure divided over area. So you have a force, you have a lot of pressure on a very wide area. It's going to become a lot of force. So pay attention. Don't drive in high water if this happens to you. And again, this is another case where you might have to leave your house. You may not have a choice. Now, obviously, flooding water you typically have, unless it's a massive flood and knocks your house down, in which case you're kind of screwed. Most of the time, flooding, you kind of see it coming. You don't have a lot of reaction time, but you have more than a fire suddenly shows up and burns the house down. So again, be ready to go if you have to. Make those plans in advance, know where you're going to go, keep your vehicles filled. Okay, you don't want to get woken up at 3 in the morning. You got to leave, and you're out of gas, but the power's out. So now what? You're going to drive halfway to where you're going, stop on the side of the road, and now you're in a stalled vehicle in a flood or a fire. Be smart. Speaking of floods, Europe's getting clobbered too. This is just weird also. That's in Germany and Belgium. And look at this video. These are houses. This whole area was farmland. It just washed away. This is a little river here, but it just washed away this entire area. I mean, the picture doesn't do it justice. This looks like, a good 30-foot drop from the surface of this soil down into this. I mean, that's massive, guys. We'll try and play that a little bit, see if it'll play. It's going to give me a commercial or some shit. No, it's giving me a commercial. Nobody wants that. That's never fun when they do that. But anyway, Europe's getting flooded. They're having a lot of issues over there. Again, these are examples of things we should pay attention to because it could happen anywhere in the States. It could happen in Canada. Canada's been super hot, super dry. Canadian Prepper put a video out where he was just pulling dry grass out of the ground. If your area is seeing weird weather, and climates evolve, climates change, humans contribute to it. Nature does its own thing. Between the two of them, ta-da, you get stuff like this. You look at this picture here. I mean, that train is basically stuck. Now, again, that goes back to prepping for travel, which I have a travel series. Think about this. Imagine you're in that train and the train can't stop in time and you wind up in a flood like that. And now they say, well, you have to get out. Where do you go? Do you carry enough basic stuff with you on your commute that you can throw your backpack or grab your purse and make it somewhere reasonably safe until a family member or friend can get you? Think about being caught in that train. Take a good look at it. Being caught in that train, trying to get home with your work stuff. If you don't have a half decent EDC, and it doesn't have to be a complete bug out bag, but a small get home bag, or put get home components in your day-to-day backpack, you get stuck like that. And they're like, okay, you have to get out of the train. It's danger. And now you're in knee-deep water. Do you have enough to protect yourself from rain? Do you have enough to protect yourself from cold? Do you have a change of shoes? You don't want to walk through that in heels or work shoes. Do you keep a pair of sneakers in your backpack or your duffel bag, or you keep a gym bag with you? Folks who actually bring their gym bag with their work bag are actually at an advantage because he can sit down while he's still in the train and say, a lady could say, I'm taking my high heels off and I'm putting my gym shoes on. And now you've got much better footwear for that kind of situation. So again, you may not only have to leave, but you may have to travel in these kind of situations to your home or to a destination. And you may be separated from your preps. It's very important for people to realize that a disaster is not going to wait for a convenient time. You could be going to a place, you may be going to and from work, you could be at this damn store and the EMP strikes or the zombies show up. Do you have the basic material and, more importantly, the basic mindset and skills to get at least the 5-10 miles to your house or the commute to your house? Like I've pointed out in another video, if I was in downtown Houston, where I lived for many years, and the shit hit the fan right there and I was in downtown, my walk back home to the north side of town was going to be an 8 to 10 hour journey, assuming I was doing 2 to 3 miles an hour uninterrupted. No rioting, no fighting, no having to avoid stuff. So guys, definitely keep these situations in mind. It's very, very important. So one last topic we're going to go through, and I got to pull up because the screen closed on me, is the South Africa riots. We saw riots here, but this is looking like some next level shit. Um, People aren't just fighting with the cops; they're legitimately destroying their own country. And the president in that country is saying he feels like it's organized. It's just too much. So let's take a peek at this real quick. Hold on just a second while I pull up that picture. Okay, so this is from BBC. And yay, coupon codes. Here you go. South Africa looting. I'm struggling to find food. Now, the looting originally started with people freaking out. They're suffering from inflation. They're suffering from shortages. They're having another burst of the Rona in the country, but they don't have a police structure. And basically, everyone went to the streets to protest. Then they started fighting. Then they started looting food. But during the weekend, it got to the point they started looting malls, looting warehouses. They attacked factories and took heavy equipment. They were just stealing shit. It was TVs. We saw the same thing in last year or 2020, just prior to the election. It wasn't food. It wasn't fighting with the cops because they were angry at the cops. They just tore the crap out of the country. And the police, unlike here in the US of A, the police in that country did not have the infrastructure, the assets to really deal with it. And this country was an absolute shit show. I'm going to show another picture here, and it's concerning. And I did put out a video on things to do and not do during civil unrest. But look at that. So the new president actually believes that this anarchy and mayhem was instigated. It was perpetuated by gangs, by political rivals. They're not sure, but he said it happened too fast, was too organized, and was maneuvering around the police as they responded, and basically was out of hand until he mobilized 20,000 soldiers. 20,000, and mind you, they're not American soldiers with their riot gear and whatnot. They went out there with AK-47s and live ammo. They went out there to kick people's ass to get this under control. But all those buildings here, these businesses, were on fire a few days later. A lot of them were destroyed. People had to abandon their vehicles. And all three of these subjects, truthfully, have been very relevant to how do you prep for being mobile. Okay, and as a guy who travels a lot, hence the name roaming prepper, I've had to do a lot of this. Now think about that. This violence has killed 80 people, roughly. Law enforcement is not able to keep up. In some areas, the citizens and law enforcement were sharing ammunition because the police were running out of ammo. Sorry about the commercial. Let's skip that ad here. And I mean, look at that, folks.
South Africa has seen in years. In the city of Durban, shops have been looted.
That's a warehouse. That's not even stores. They hit trucks.
Wealthier residents have reportedly chartered planes or helicopters and left.
So people with money have left. But look at that. People got stuck in their vehicle. This is Al Jazeera, by the way. So folks got caught in traffic. They hit parking lots. People got stopped in the road and just had to flee. And this is what resulted. I mean, this is heartbreaking, yo. This is way worse than what we saw in the States.
I was sitting crying, helpless.
I don't know if you can hear him. She's crying. This was her store, guys.
The vandalism is overwhelming for the shop owner. She was planning on retiring from her party supply store. Now she must start over. I'm 55 here.
Now keep in mind, this is sad stuff, guys. They hit a party supply store. Why? There's no food there. There's not even TVs. They just trashed shit, stole money, whatever. It was a complete rampage. And like I said, there was another video, I couldn't find it for today's video, that local cops were running out of ammunition. So they and the local hunters and farmers and the communities basically blocked off the subdivision, and they pooled their ammo and redistributed it so everyone had something. And they were shooting at the rioters with birdshot because they ran out of non-lethal and tear gas, so they were just shooting with birdshot, which in theory didn't kill anyone and probably did, but that's bad. So common denominator for this weekend, every single one of these events, every single one of these disasters, these shits hit the fan, or shit hits the fan, whatever you want to call it, were the result or resulted in people having to flee or being caught remotely and having to try to get home. Having a good get home bag is essential. If you can't have one practically because of your commute, having components of a get home bag in your day-to-day work bags, or keeping a get home bag at the office. So if you look on the news, it's like, wow, I got to go through that. Your bag is in your office. At one point when I used to commute, I had a kit about that big in the office. Couldn't put a gun in that one, but I had a kit there and I had my vehicle. But in the event I had to evacuate and could not get back to my vehicle, I had a basic kit that could get me. It was basically a 12-hour kit to get me from my office to my house, which my last office would have been more like a 3-hour walk, not a 10-hour walk. But again, guys, very important, in the back of your mind, be ready to leave your home if you have to. And more importantly, expect that something could happen when you're not at home, or when you're on the road, or when you're traveling or visiting a friend. So you got to be ready for that kind of stuff. My brother's a prepper like I am. So if I'm at his house, he's at mine. We're going to figure it out. We're square. But I get caught on the road between, city A and city B. I'm going to have to improvise because I probably will have enough to get by, but I'm going to need some stuff too. So I hope this was useful to you guys. Very interesting stuff going on in the world today. I'm going to cut this one short. Godspeed if you're on the road. The rest of you, be safe, pay attention, think about this stuff. This is important stuff to think about. Learn what you can and help someone out if possible. Until next time, Godspeed, God bless, and be safe.